The whole problem stems from what I call the problems of Darwin's nightmare, which is now the problems of the documentary filmmaker's nightmare. When you start to step on the toes of the powerful, we're very naive documentary filmmakers. You think that the powerful won't bite back, but the reason why people have power is that they do, address the power and use the power and abuse the power and can smash the lens of the documentary filmmaker. So, documentary's in peril, really, everywhere in all these unprotected zones. The only zones that are protected are really the places where speech is free, and actually that's nowhere in the world. Nothing is for free. You're holding a 500-euro camera in your hand made by slave labor in China or Malaysia or Vietnam. So, the ethical implications of what we do don't run deep enough. So when you start to take on the powerful, they bite back, and if you're trying to think that you're using legal means, or they'll use legal means against you. If you try to be insurgent, they'll use a kind of insurgency against you, mostly having to do with censorship and self-censorship. And you have to begin with the belief that what we do as documenters, which means documentary liars. We have to pretend that our lies are bigger than their lies, and how we try to reach people with a small p is it's a kind of fight for people's minds in a way, and then people's actions out of the mind, and I think people are getting tired of being persuaded by the images of the corporate clinical world, and are starting to make up their own minds. And when people start to make up their own minds, it becomes democracy. But democracy is an idea of the mind and not an idea of borders and states. There could be slaves in Amsterdam just as much as there can be slaves in the Western Sahara. So the question is, how do we, as utilitarian doc media makers, how do we put ourselves at service to those communities that we're pretending to serve? Sometimes documentary is what the middle class does to fuck over the working class. I mean, that's the general kind of earnest definition of documentary. We think we have some sort of sacred knowledge and we can help people. I mean, it's the idea of charity permeates the work of the earnest documentary filmmaker. So I think you have to start to really clear the mind of all of that stuff, all of the intention. It's a kind of Buddhist idea, and really get down to the quality of life that of those people we are working with and documenting, and to really feel, social solidarity with them. So we're not still part of a pyramid, but the pyramid is dismantled. I guess this is kind of definition of participatory media, which is the thing, which is a coming thing, which will always be the thing. But it's done, I think, image by image and frame by frame and brick by brick, and not and through the movements, the collectivization and the internetalization of the participatory media. So we have to take the borders of state borders, provincialism, and erase all of those things, and we have to rebuild this Babylon Tower in a certain way. In fact, probably the best way of thinking about the world now is to think it's a kind of game, and each nation state has it's an entity, but it's like on a fridge magnet. On a fridge, you put a magnet. Each nation should be moved, so we have to sort of coexist with different nations almost every day of our lives. And once you start thinking global local, then you erase the border, and you can actually see the planet for what it is, which is a borderless thing, which is a thing to be respected, and a kind of global consciousness. And that has nothing to do with globalization. It's the opposite. It's really about social solidarity. Networkers is what we have to be, and project managers instead of directors of individual little iconographic, egotistical kind of works of art. We, have to think that the work of art fits into a gestalt, as they would say in German, like the whole picture has to be within the individual work. And then we can start talking about democracy, which is like it might have been born in Athens 2,000 years ago, but those people participating in that democracy owned slaves, and the people that invented the American Constitution, that democracy, also were slave owners. So it really, and I don't want to be new age about it, but it really starts with ourselves and our own hypocrisies and living with those, trying to transcend those through the work we do. And I think we only have a finite number of years to do this in. And if we take Kurzweil's theories of acceleration and exponential algorithmic growth, we're quickly going to be a point where it's pointless even to talk about democracy, and what will evolve very quickly is a kind of democratic dictatorships as the kind of natural coalition of the existing states. God is raining on you. I would say God, but I'm an atheist. I'm gonna go get my laundry now. We'll get down to. I'm going to China tomorrow. I have to do my laundry. How more basic than that? So you're welcome. You're welcome to follow me.